Hi there, I'm Tatiana Arno, your city engineer, and I am here seeking approval for the agreement for construction management services for the Oxnard wastewater treatment plant reliability improvement project. The recommendation that we are seeking is that the City Council first approve and authorize the mayor to execute Agreement A-8281 with Kennedy Jenks Consultants Incorporated in the amount of $3,279,704 for construction management services for the Oxnard wastewater treatment plant reliability improvement project. And second, approve $327,970 for project contingency for the construction management services for the Oxnard wastewater treatment plant reliability improvement project. So what is this project comprised of? For starters, it's about $40 million worth of improvements at the wastewater treatment facility that will be done over the next 2 years after we award for construction, which we plan on doing early summer. The project components include the structural rehabilitation of the plant headworks, some odor control, the replacement of the motor control center, rehabilitation of the digester, the construction of a brand new electrical building. We will also be replacing the standby generator, building a new maintenance building, as the current one is in really bad shape. The improvements to the interstage pump station are included in this. We will also be replacing the process water pipelines. We'll be adding new security fencing and surveillance throughout the facility. And finally, it'll include a new SCADA system. So that's the project. Now, what will Kennedy Jenks be doing for us? Well, construction services will be comprised of the constructability review, which includes an analysis of the sequence of work. As you can tell, there's a lot of project components, and we'll need to make sure that the sequencing of this is such that we can continue operations at the wastewater treatment facility while also meeting the objectives of getting these improvements built in a timely manner, right? They will also be helping us identify any areas where we could potentially have change orders. So we want to prevent those obviously as early on as possible. So that'll be a part of that phase of their contract. They will also be assisting us with the bid review once we get into the bid phase. So as we receive bids from contractors, they'll help us scour through those to make sure that we are contracting with the legitimate contractor for such a huge project, right? They will also, once we get into construction, be doing all of the coordination with the contractors. So again, they'll be actually acting as a construction manager on behalf of the city, just because we don't have the in-house staff to be able to manage a project of this magnitude. It takes an entire team of people to do this, right? So they'll be primarily responsible for coordination of the scheduling, making sure that progress meetings are happening. Basically, all of the requests for information that comes through, they'll help us document all that, and it gets into the document control. So any requests for change orders, any requests for information, even the as-built, that'll be part of the document control, which I'll get into a little bit more. They'll also be providing inspection services. We do have in-house inspectors, but however, considering the magnitude of this project, it'll take several inspectors to be able to do this. And not only that, there's going to be special inspection components, especially for the welding, the structural, the geotechnical. So again, it really does take a specialty firm and a whole team of people to really manage a project of this size. So that's why we are consulting Kennedy Jenks. While we keep our in-house staff moving forward on other of our several projects that we have in the capital improvement program, right? Kennedy Jenks will also be helping us with budget management in terms of reviewing invoices. So we want to make sure that whatever the contractor does is what we're paying for, that we're not paying more or less. So they'll help us manage that. And then as we get into the closeout of the project in a couple of years, they'll make sure that the as-built plans are accurate and get reviewed appropriately, that the operations and maintenance manuals get transferred over to our wastewater facility staff, and naturally they'll have to check for all the spare parts that are required as part of the bid documentation that they're delivered to the facility and they're accounted for. So we submitted the request for proposals on October 1st of last year, with those proposals being due on November 5th of last year. We received a total of 4 proposals. They were evaluated by myself, the wastewater division manager, and the project manager for this. Kennedy Jenks was selected as the most qualified firm to provide these services for the Oxnard wastewater treatment plant reliability improvement project. And that has to do with, we appreciated their approach. They gave us some suggestions even before getting into the constructability review. And they're also a local firm, which is a huge bonus for us. With a project of this size, local presence is important. So how much is it going to cost? I mentioned it in the recommendation, but again, it's an agreement for $3.3 million. Because this is a long-term project that is massive in magnitude, we are requesting a contingency amount for this, an amount of $330,000. That's just in case, we need to, if the construction takes a little bit longer, or there are other unforeseen things that come up where we might need Kennedy Jenks assistance more than we originally anticipated. We don't know if we'll be tapping into it, but we're being conservative here. So that does bring the total cost up to $3.6 million. The Wastewater Capital Fund 617 has sufficient appropriations to cover this cost. That does conclude the presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions.